Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday, my artsy friends. How is everyone doing today? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Come on in, get yourself settled. As I normally tell you, my friends, grab your watercolor, squash, water soluble inks, whatever water soluble products you use, because we will be doing a project today. We'll get started in just a moment. Excuse me. I'm just making sure I have everything around me that I need. Taking a sip of my coffee, and then we're going to jump right in just a moment. All right. Let's see. We're going to give things a few minutes to get kicked off here. Let some people join. If you are already here, friends, go ahead, jump in the comment section and let me know if you can both see and hear. And we will go and wait till about 5 after, and then we'll get started. Again, I'm just double checking that I have everything. We're going to be looking at a artist grade watercolor today in today's live, swatching it out, playing with it with some first round of painting and see how that goes. All right. Do. Right. Those. I'm going to be using some pens today. I have watercolors and swatch book. I'm going to show you guys how to put together a really quick Christmas gift last minute. It'll be real cute and fun. But I am going to go ahead and jump right in. If you are here live, please feel free to join the chat. If you are going to be watching in replay, then feel free to comment whatever you want whenever you would like to. All right. Good morning, my artsy friends. Happy Monday morning. Welcome to our regularly scheduled Monday morning live. I'm so glad that you've taken time out of your day in order to join me here, and I hope that you are doing well. We are going to kick off today's live like we normally do, looking back at what we've done over the week, and then we're going to jump into what we're doing today. So let's get started here. Last Monday, friends, we had the unveiling, unboxing, and played around with the Art Bible Journal from Paint Crush by Christy Rice. Now, unfortunately, there were a few technical difficulties with the live from last Monday, so it ended up being two parts. A part one and a part two. I have edited them both, so they are available for replay. But in that video, we went through the beginning of the Art Bible Journal. We did the very first exercise that was included, and we painted a little illustration. Um, so it was a lot of fun, and I did give my final assessment of this journal. At that particular point, I really, really like what Christy did with this journal, and we will be using this more in the future. Not what today's video is about, but it's definitely what last Monday's live was about. So if you missed it, please feel free to go back and check that out. It was a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you've been wondering about that particular journal at all. Very, very, very gorgeous product. All right. So then after that, there was a pre-recorded video release that came out this past Wednesday, which was me showing you an illustration I did actually back in October doing Inktober, and many of you guys told me you wanted to see it. So I did go ahead and edit this video and posted it this past Wednesday. So if you missed this past Wednesday, you can go back and check it out. It is a lot. It was a lot of fun to create this. Um, and the time lapse is pretty quick. So definitely go check that out if you missed it. Just kind of revisiting something that was done back in October. Now, afterwards, we had, because there was a lot of videos that came out this past week. There was. So after that, we had the review of the Tonic Professional Watercolor Drop. I took you through somewhat of an unboxing considering the format that I have the paints in. We talked about how I got them, where I got them. We talked about pigment numbers and opacity and light fastness. I showed you different illustrations that I did with them, and ultimately gave you my overall opinion of the Tonic Professional Watercolors by St. Louis Art Supply, produced right here in the US. So if you missed that, that's also up on the channel for you to go and check out. Now, after that, we had the review or the unboxing or the go through, whatever you want to call it, of the the Paint Crush 2025 Advent Journal, Art Advent Journal by Christy Rice. Now I don't have any of that to throw up on the screen, but definitely go check that video out. It's about just at 45 minutes long. We go through every single thing that's in the Advent calendar. I use some things out of the calendar to create with. We go through pricing of individual items in the calendar to compare it against the overall price paid for the calendar. And then I gave you my final assessment of what I thought. So if you missed that, definitely go back and check that one out. If you are a winner of the Palm Street giveaway for December 2025, on yesterday, all emails for giving the link for that full-time gouache tutorial was emailed. So you can check your email box for that. You should have that link for that gouache tutorial. Again, congratulations to everyone who won during December, and thank you so much for your continued support of Defiant Arts and myself. I really, really appreciate it. All right. Hello, Shelly. How are you today, friend? Okay, that I think catches us up on everything that we have done. Now, if we're going to talk about what's coming up today, we are unboxing and taking a play with the SoHo Urban Artist Gray Watercolors by SoHo from Jerry's Autorama. So that's what we'll be looking at. This upcoming Wednesday, we will be finally unboxing and cracking open the solid opaque watercolors by Famuhi, which is a 24 colored set. So if you're interested in seeing those, you can look forward to that this Wednesday dropping for the pre-recorded release. We are also going to be having a review dropping this upcoming Friday of the Miliang solid this new set of Meeting solid watercolors. I'm gonna have to Google how to pronounce that name to make sure that I pronounce it correctly. But we are going to be unboxing, swatching, and basically comparing this to the Pretty Excellent line by Meeting as well as the Hitoto line by Meeting to see if there is truly a big difference between the three sets. So if you're interested in that, that's going to be this upcoming Friday at 10 a.m. As long as everything stays the same, that video should drop. If there are any changes, I'll throw an update in the community section of the Thrifty Apprentice YouTube page. So you guys will know that, hey, because it may come out on Saturday instead of Friday, but right now the plan is for it to come out on Friday. All right. So that pretty much catches up everything that we've done and everything that I have planned right now. Oh, one final thing, Patreon. Of course, we will be meeting tonight at 8 p.m. in the Creation Station for our regularly scheduled Monday Night Live. And I do believe we are going to really go outside the box and we're going to play with acrylics tonight. Not something that I do often, but hey, it's the holiday season. Let's just go for what we know. So we will be playing with acrylics tonight. I haven't decided if it'll be from the tube or whether we'll be playing with acrylic paint pens. But either way, I think I think that's the direction we're going to go. And I will have the posting for that live up after this one ends. So just keep your ears to the ground for it. All right, I'm gonna check the comment section real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started with today's live. Looks like Shelly's the only person said anything, friend. I'm so glad that you are here. For anyone else watching in the background, welcome. I'm really happy that you are here as well. And we're just gonna go ahead and get started. It is my plan to kind of show you guys something kind of really fun. and whimsical today. There's not going to be much planning for it. We're really just going to kind of play around with watercolors because I really want to see how this particular paint set works. So we're unboxing for the first time today the Soho Urban Artist Grade Watercolors. This is the half pan set of 15. This is the Soho brand, and it is a house brand of Jerry's Autorama, which is a big box fine art store that you can find in a lot of different places. Um, kind of the the competition for Blick or Jackson's Art if you've never heard of Jerry's Autorama. So again, Soho Urban Artist happens to be one of their house brands, which I use a lot because the products are very affordable and they tend to be really great quality. Now, the thing about Soho is that they don't produce their own products, so they aren't white labeled by other factories. But I will say that the factories they have been working with have produced pretty decent artist grade products, and I haven't had many issues with anything that I get under the Soho brand since I started purchasing them. So this particular watercolor set, as I said, it's 15 half pans. As you can see, it comes in just a little flip top box. It's pretty thin, the box itself. So the money definitely didn't go into the packaging, but for what it's worth, excuse me, it's pretty cute. As you can see, it has a window allowing you to see the paints, and you can tell right off that those paints are semi-moist. They have a gloss to the top of them, so they don't like dry out completely, right? Let's flip this box over on the back here, and it's going to tell you it features a clear plastic case, which is a palette, I guess. Colors reactivate and lift effortlessly. Rich concentrated colors, perfect for watercolor sketches and painting. Colors include deep black, Van Dyke brown, terra verde, ultramarine, cobalt blue, hue violet, burnt sienna, brown, red ochre, vermilion hue, yellow ochre, brilliant yellow, lemon yellow, and white. It does conform to the ASTM D4236 regulation, classifying it as non-toxic. And then there is some information here, basically just a phone number, letting you know if you want more information, you can reach out to Soho Urban Artists at this US toll free number, and the product is made in China. So that's pretty much the packaging, straightforward, friends. Not too much pizzazz or razz to it. Let's go ahead and pop this open and pull the paints out and see what we have. So here is a plastic, almost compact style palette with the Soho Urban Artist branding printed here on the front and the bottom right hand corner. That is all the labeling on it. Compact style, like I said, pretty cool snap on that closure there. Not a big deal. Now the paints are semi-moist, and it does seem that they will stick to the top. So okay, yeah. So you're gonna have I have a little residue there. Now here's the thing that I will note: you can actually cut you out a piece of white cardstock or white printer paper, and maybe put it, maybe laminate it if you have a lamination machine, and you can put something in that top if you wanted to make that a mixing palette, just in case you ever wanted to take this on the go with you. I mean, it's a very small footprint, and there's quite a few paints in there for that. Let's see, that is exactly 4 1/4 by 2 1/4, 4 1/4 by 2 1/4 in that area, give or take. So very small. Lots of paint. So that's pretty much that. Now, if you can tell, as I said, semi-moist paints, it would seem that these were liquid poured, and you can tell that because they're not all completely level all the way to the top of the pan. And you can even see the red here try to do a little running out of the half pan. So definitely not paints that are going to dry down really, really hard. And because they're semi-moist, and I can see that there may be a chance that they'll travel, I would also, be mindful of the humidity, the heat, the temperature, because this may make paints, especially if you got them in like a travel bag, a purse, a book bag, something like that, they may actually move out of the half pans. I don't know that for sure because I don't know the exact formula. I'm just gauging all of this based off how semi-moist and wet those paints look with me taking them out the box. Now, a good thing I can say is that Outside of the colors that you should be able to look at it and immediately kind of tell what they are, a lot of the pans are deep, which is normally the indication that you may have a good quality paint because there possibly are not a lot of fillers or opacifiers or dyes in it in order to really punch up and brighten the color. But we won't know that for sure until we start swatching them and using them. But let's see. Let's get into it. So I have prepared a sheet for us to swatch on. This is Canson XL 140-pound cold pressed acid-free watercolor paper. This, of course, is a cellulose paper, and I tend to do all of my swatching on cellulose paper because it helps you see whether or not the paint itself has any issues a little bit better than 100% cotton paper will. Uh, so, but most of you know that's why I use it anyway. I have a little palette here that's going to be used for mixing when we get around to the painting project. And as I said earlier, the painting project is going to be really straightforward and really whimsical today. We're just going to have fun and kind of throw this paint around on paper and just play with it just to see how it flows, blends, mixes, those different type of things. Because I really want to get a good feel for them today. I will be doing another project with them probably off camera before I actually get around to a review. They have several renditions of this paint. It comes in this particular palette. There is a full 24 half pan palette that's in a 10. There is a, I think, 12 to 15 color little wooden travel palette, sort of like this Go Draw palette here, but it's a sort of a bigger footprint than this one. But it has just as many paints in it, and it's made along this same magnet wooden open travel design. Um, but when I picked up my set, I picked this one up because it seemed to be the best buy, 15 half pans, and it was priced better than the other two renditions for the same paint. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the comments section, check the comments, see what's going on, and then we are swatching paints here. Hello, Marianne. Hello, Tisa. Welcome, friends. Yeah, it's a cute little box. It is. It's let's hope the paints are some good. you know, because I happen to be, like I said, I'm a sort of a fan of Soho products, so I'm hoping that these don't disappoint. I'm gonna grab a number 8 synthetic swirl brush, and these are semi-moist, so I mean, it would be my guess that you do not have to pre-wet them. So we're just gonna go for the gusto here and see what we have. I won't be swatching the white. And I probably should have reordered these, and I probably will reorder them after this video. But we're just gonna swatch them the way they come right now. And I'm not pre-wetting because I want to see how quickly they'll reactivate with water, considering the fact that they look semi-moist already. It's a pretty bright yellow right off, not too bad. Now, I did feel a little skipping on coverage. I'm not sure if that's. Well, let's not make any prejudgments yet. Let's just go ahead and swatch out the next one. Now, I'm going to assume that first color was lemon yellow. The box does give you a list of the color names, but there is no artist information included. There is no light fast information, no pigment information, no staining information. I'll be honest though, I really didn't expect there to be with this particular brand because again, it's a white labeled house brand. And white labeled house brands typically do not come with artist information. This would be comparable to your Artist Loft by Michaels. This would be comparable to your Hobby Lobby's Master's Touch Fine Art Studio or Fine Touch line of paints. I think this one is the yellow ochre. That first one was lemon yellow. The second one, let's see if I can just tell here. I would say that second one is brilliant yellow, lemon yellow, brilliant yellow, and yellow ochre. All right, let's move on here. I think this next one is, Well, let's swatch it out. I'm not quite sure. Let's see what it looks like on the paper. Hmm. That's really close to that yellow ochre in all honesty. It's got a little bit more of a red undertone to it. If I had to guess, I'm gonna say that's the red. Well, no, that's probably the red ochre. That's probably the yellow ochre. Maybe the terra verde. I thought terra verde was green. I could be wrong. Let's see. Let's go with this one. I will have to pick the pans up. Well, I can always look under the bottom. There's no labeling on the pans, and they're definitely not in the same order in the pan as they are on the box. That's not cute because if you're a beginner who happens to not be used to what colors may look like, being able to just tell them right off, or play the guessing game of elimination based on what the names are versus the color, it may be hard for you to know what you're using. So that would definitely be one thing I would say. It wouldn't hurt to put just another penny or two, even if it's just to put the name of the color on the box. Um, what is this? Cobalt violet. I guess this is, well, no, that's going to be violet. This would be, there's a vermilion hue. Not quite sure what that is. If anybody knows if that color is right off, tell me. I'm going to kind of glance over at the comment section. Let's see what we have next here. Soho, we're going to have to play a game on, a guessing game on. Ooh, that's gorgeous. Now, that's definitely the violet. I wonder if all the colors listed on the back of this box are actually in this set. That's a gorgeous blue. It's a phthalo-ish color. The colors are definitely bright and pretty. I guess that's cobalt blue hue, which means this one would be ultramarine. Yeah, that's definitely ultramarine. It's not as punchy as I would expect it to be. It's kind of subtle and demure. Very demure. Hmm. Does look like it's starting to granulate already, though, a little bit. Got a little texture there. It's not too bad. Let's see. We have. I want to say this is terracotta. I'm going to look a color up in a minute because I want to see what color it's supposed to be. But I think this is the terra verde. I don't know why I want to say that's a green color. I've seen it somewhere, but it's not common in the sets I typically use. Let's see what we have here. Now there's a brown, there's a burnt sienna, there's a red ochre, there's a cerise. I know I'm not pronouncing it right. I'm not another color that I'm not very familiar with or I don't see on a regular basis in a lot of paint sets. Oh, that's gorgeous though. I want to say that is burnt sienna. That dye looks like it's made to emulate PBR7, which is cute. It's not as red as colors that are typically made from PR101. This is a very dull greenish color. What I will say is nothing seems to have a bunch of flocculation to it. I mean, there's not a lot of grit on the paper. There's no grit on the paper at all, actually. So if I had to guess, I would think that these may be dye based because I really doubt for the price I paid if this paint is full of pigments. And if it is pigment based, it's definitely got something in it to stretch it, and that would be the deep black is what they call it. So I'm going to assume that's Van Dyke Brown. Some of them, like I said, I can kind of guess out. That one would be vermilion hue. I'm not sure. I wanted to, at first I thought that's definitely yellow ochre. Um, Thinking that may be the one they're calling brown. But they're in like this random crazy order in the palette. So they definitely don't match up to what's on the back of the box in its order. So play a little bit of a guessing game. But there they are, friends, kind of swatched out. On this opacity test, as you can see, they all pretty much leave a clean line. There's a tad bit of residue right there on that lemon yellow. There's a tad bit on the yellow ochre, which I would definitely expect from both of those in all honesty. But every other color seems to have left the black line pretty clean. Now, the earth tones I would have expected to have a little opacity to them, but it doesn't look like they have much, which is another thing that leads me to believe that these are more of a dye-based paint. Not to say that there's anything wrong with it, just, And what I can tell you is that they're definitely not um, a white label from a brand I'm used to. You know what they kind of put me in the mind of, though? You know, just from the swatching and just from the look of them. They kind of put me in the mind of Hemi and the vibranium art paints. Let me show you what I mean right quick because I can grab those really quick. They really, really look like Hemi paints now that I think about it. Or whomever Hemi has make their paints. It looks like they come out of that factory. Of course, because I'm trying to put my hands on them right here, right now, I don't even see the box. That's just typical. Okay, here's the vibranium art. I'll grab those. Oh, here's the Hemi. Okay. Thank you guys for bearing with me right quick. I really wanted to show you these. They really, really remind me of these two brands of paints right off, especially just kind of based on looks. Take a look at this, right? So here is the Hemi set. Now, and I'll tell you guys the story in a second. So this is the Hemi set, right? Okay. And then, of course, here is the Vibranium Art set. Now, I did a video a while back on these two sets of paints and how I had this aha moment about how Vibranium Art was using the same factory that Hemi uses to make their paints, or if Hemi is the people who making the paints, because Hemi typically makes a lot of their own products. They were making them for vibranium art. However, it is important to note that even if a company produces their own paints and products, they will steal white label from other factories. It happens. Paul Rubens is a prime example. We all know Paul Rubens makes their own products. They make their products and they make the Medellin line of products inside their own factory. But their Paul Rubens student grade paints, they actually white label from Europe, and I believe White Knights, the company that make White Knights, Naviska. I'm not going to butcher the name, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I think they make Paul Rubens student grade paints, the pan set specifically. So just because a company produces their own paints don't mean that they won't white label. So here's what I'm saying. These paints look eerily a lot alike. The semi-moistness, the fact that they are liquid poured, they don't feel all the way up to the pan. Uh, Especially in the middle, there's this dip. The colors tend to look exactly alike. I can almost pull Oh yeah. Absolutely. Now, this was the first set I tried and tested, and they are so good. Well, let's say I enjoyed them so much, and I initially thought that they were white labeled by Superior. Not to say that they aren't, but that's what I thought. And then someone said in the review of these, "Hey, those look a lot like Hemi." So of course, I eventually got the Hemi, and I think they were donated just so that I could test them out against the Vibranium art. And came to the conclusion that without a doubt, these are the same paints. They match up color for color, um, even pigment for pigment, because both companies decided to give you pigment numbers with them. Still doesn't mean that they're not white labeled by Superior. Just closer information that possibly Hemi has something to do with this. So, and it is my belief that these might be the same paints, friend. I'm gonna have to do a side by side swatching to see, but I think they might be. They look identical. They really, really do. So I just kind of want to show you guys that. I mean, it popped in my head real quick as I was looking at them. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying, definitively. I don't work for any of these companies, but that's just eerily, eerily similar. Eerily similar. Eerily similar. And of course, we know that Soho does white label there, so it is a good chance that those paints might be coming from the same factory as these two sets. All right, I'm gonna jump in the comment section, check the comments, and then we're gonna play with the paints a little bit. I'm not gonna keep you guys long, so we're gonna jump into it real quick and actually move pretty quick. All right, let's see. Oh, that's cool, Tisa. Do what you need to do, my friend. So Terra Verta is a mossy green. So okay. So I was right. It's a green color. I figured it was. It's gonna be a little hard to. I'm sure this burnt sienna. I want to say this Van Dyke brown. So this would have to be uh red ochre, I believe. Let me see something real quick. I always tell people, hey, you have the information right at your fingertips, right? So this is okay, the cherry looking deep reddish pink color. Okay, so this is a cool red in the set, and it is Cerise, Cerise. Am I pronouncing that right? Cerise pink. They just dropped the pink from it. Name for the French word for cherry. That makes sense. So that's what that one is. Maybe I should write these on here right quick. Um, just so as I'm calling stuff, I be calling the right thing. Ah! So are these dry enough for me to put my hands on? Yes. That's gonna be lemon, yellow. This one is brilliant yellow. We have um yellow, ochre. Eh, Um, I'm gonna leave that be for right now. We know that this one is the Terra Verta. This would be vermilion hue. Found out that this one is the Cerise pink. Cerise. Maybe I'm gonna have to put that in. Make sure I'm pronouncing it right. I hate to mispronounce words. This one would be violet. That one's kind of easy. This one was ultramarine, which means that this would have to be the cobalt blue hue. We know we have deep black, and I'm sure this is Van Dyke brown. Dyke brown, which this has to be red ochre. It has to be. It has to be red ochre, which means that we have what's left. We have nope, that's burnt sienna. So this is either red ochre or brown, or this is red ochre or brown. I'm going to just assume that this is brown and that they put the red ochre up in with the reds. So there, and I'm going to reorder those. I will be painting with them a lot more than what I do today. This is going to be a little bit more helpful on as far as just kind of knowing what I'm reaching for, especially if I'm doing a tutorial or a demo. All right, let's see here. Hello, Ruby. All right, let's get into playing. Now, you can grab whatever you want, grab whatever watercolors you want. Today, we're just going to do a little play project, sort of like, I mean, something kind of, I'm going to show you guys how you can make a quick Christmas gift. So here's what I did. I grabbed an 8 by 10 frame. It doesn't matter what 8 by 10 frame you grab. I grabbed this one. I mean, it happened to be one that I had sitting around, and I typically use this one for show whenever I'm doing something that I'm going to put in a frame and show on camera. So here's the frame I'm going to be using. What we're going to do, since I know my frame opening is 8 by 10, I blocked off I took a piece of 9 by 12 paper and blocked off 8 by 10 sizing, and we're going to be using that to paint on. Now, we're going to keep this fun. We're going to keep this kind of splashy throwing around watercolors. Now, I'm painting on, let me show you. Strathmore 400 series, 140-pound cold press S3 watercolor paper. I got this block on sale for, it looks like $15. It was 15 sheets. I think I got this out of Michael's. So that's a sale in Michael's. You know how that goes. They're high about everything. But it is a block and it's 9 by 12. So I've blocked off 8 by 10 to be able to fit my frame. As you can see, I don't have any pencil marks or anything like that here because we really are about to just kind of splash around and play with paints. This is going to be a fun exercise that anybody can do. You can do this with your kids, loved ones. You can turn this into a watercolor postcard to send off for Christmas. So you can do it that size. I'll show you guys what stuff. Like you can use a watercolor postcard size and do it sort of in a size like this. And then you can just send the postcard off Christmas, right? You could do a watercolor greeting card. Do I have a greeting card left in here? Or all these envelopes. Um, these are all envelopes. Wait, there's one. Nope, that's an envelope. Well, you guys know what watercolor greeting cards look like. So you can do it on a watercolor greeting card that you could either send off or drop inside a gift bag or inside a gift box that you're handing off for Christmas. You can do it in this format that I'm going to do it in. Put it in a little frame. You can do it in different sizes and run to the Dollar Tree or your local dollar store and grab a frame to actually frame it, right? So I'm just going to be showing an example in the frame that I have here already. Grab a couple of brushes and I'm going to start with my big brush. Oh, here we go. I'm going to start with my number 30 round because I like a big brush. Okay, and I am going to let's start by actually, we're going to wet the background. You don't have to, but yeah, let's see if they're gonna flow any. I love this brush. It covers such a big surface area at one time, and it holds quite a bit of water. This is a mimic um, synthetic squirrel, so it's gonna hold quite a bit of water. This brush is another actual product from a house brand at Jerry's. Mimic is one of Jerry's house brush lines and accessory lines, and they make some really nice brushes. Now, this is a cellulose paper, so it's going to have some buckle to it. Of course, you know the rule, the general rule of thumb when you're doing wet in the wet, you want to make sure that your paper is wet and you have a consistent sheen and not puddles. Now, of course, this is a cellulose paper, so it's going to dry really quickly. If you have 100% cotton, you're going to have much more working time. I'm going to wet that. I'm going to mix up a couple of colors and then I'm going to wet it again. Let's start with, well, definitely we're going to go with the vermilion because we're going to do sort of a holiday berry background. Why not? So I'm going to mix me up enough vermilion to kind of cover my paper. You want to mix your puddles however big you need them be to cover the substrate that you're working on. They break down really easily in water. And if if they perform like those Hemis do, then it's not going to be any problem with their solubility. There is no, let's see, there is no sap green. So I guess we'll use that Terra Verta. I might want to mix a green. Oh, they reactivate super well with water. You can pick up quite a bit of pigment at one time. Let me see, what other colors do I think I'm going to need? Um, Probably going to use some of that, clean that brush a little bit better. I'm probably going to use some of that brilliant yellow, not the lemon. Let's go with the brilliant. I still had a little green left in that brush, so that did dull the color a little bit. That's okay. I just need a little bit of that. I'm not going to use too much. We'll end up using a brown. So let's do, I'm kind of glancing over my shoulder. It's a swatch sheet. Let's do the burnt sienna, I guess. Just because that's the color I know that most people might have in their palettes. And a little bit more of that. And let's do ultramarine blue. And I think, ooh, which one was ultramarine? Let's see. Right before this one. I do like the fact that, again, the pans are so deep in color that you can't really look at most of them and tell what they are. So I'm suspecting that this paint is, regardless of whether it has artist information listed with it, it's actually going to be pretty decent because I personally think that both the Hemi and the Vibranium art sets are both decent sets. And that Hemi set is actually super affordable. That's like 24 half pans of paint for $15, $16, something like that. It's super affordable. Now, the Vibranium art, because of the wooden palette, they give you a quill brush. The Vibranium art set comes with a number 4 quill brush in it. So that set's like $65. But if you want to give the paints a try, you can just get the Hemi set and pay 16 for the same 24 half pans. So just so you know. All right, let's with this one more time because I'm sure we have some uneven wetness with this cellulose paper. So if you're not using a 100% cotton paper, here's a really good way to, just kind of re-wet your paper a second time. If you want to try to get some flow with your paints. Or you can actually wet the back of the paper and then wet the front of the paper if you don't have it on a block or a pad. But that method does tend to limit flow a little bit, but it will definitely help keep your paper wet longer for blending. All right, let's start off with some blue skies smiling at me. Start off with that. I'm playing with paints and paper is drying already, so you know, I'm gonna go. Let's rinse, and we want to get some blocks of the vermilion on here definitely because we're doing berries, right? This should be fun. Trust me. We're gonna pull out the hair dryer. We're gonna have to pull out the hair dryer to dry it, but this should be fun. Some splatters here. Let's see. We need some green. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna stick to this same brush, but I'm gonna pull a little water out of it first and just go directly in for the green because I'm gonna try to keep it from spreading into my red too much. Don't want to make mud on my so my brush is drier because we know that red and green are opposites. Oh, I was about to pick up some red. Red and greens are opposite and they can make mud when mixed together. Maybe we can mix some of that green into the ultramarine. Pick the paper up. If we're gonna let them blend, we're gonna let them blend on the paper naturally. I'm not gonna force them together. This is fun. We're just playing. You're just playing. Only thing you want to do is make sure you concentrate on having some red areas. Okay, that's it. That's the only thing that really matters. You can splatter and sprinkle paint. Maybe I'll put a little yellow in there. I'm going to again pull the extra water out of my brush so it's only the yellow. Hopefully it won't cause any like cauliflowers or anything. And we're gonna go back up here and throw in some more blue. As long as your paper is still wet, you have plenty of time to play, but as your paper starts to dry, you would want to leave it alone. All right, that's gonna be my background. I know you're thinking to yourself, what is going on? But trust me, it's gonna be fine. We're having fun. Or I am anyway. I hope you are too. I'm just gonna bat this around a little bit. Let that paint do what it want to do, mix itself on the paper. This is a really great way to mix paint on your background without making mud. All right, I'm gonna grab the hair dryer. You guys jump in the comment section because I'm about to check in a moment. I mean, in the chat box, let me know what have you been doing this week. What have you been working on? What have you painted, friends? How For those of you who celebrate Christmas, are you done with that Christmas shopping? I haven't even started. I have not started, friends. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the hair dryer here. So if you're noise sensitive, just know it's about to come on in three, two, one. But yeah, I need to get my Christmas shopping done. I'm probably gonna order it all and have it come in just so I don't have to go out to stores and fight anybody to get anything. Oh, I'm not sure if you guys saw the post, but over on Instagram, Blick Art Materials, they do this 12 days of Christmas giveaway every year. Um, Ironically enough, was it last year? Yeah, last year I won one of the days and won. No, was that a Blick giveaway? I think it was that I won those pasta pins, and then I ended up giving different pasta sets away. Um, And then there was another big drawing that I entered, and I won that Utrecht gouache. That's where that gouache came from that we were able to review. And here recently, I entered one of their 12 days of Christmas drawing, and I actually won 120 count of Royal Talon's Rembrandt soft pastels. I'm gonna show it to you guys in a minute. But I was so shocked and happy because we're talking someone who's just really gotten into soft pastels. So everything that I have is like an artist grade. And I was really trying to debate on what professional grade I wanted to spend my money on and try first. And I saw that giveaway and I was like, you know what? I'm probably not going to win, but let me enter this giveaway anyway. So I did. And the next day, I woke up getting ready for work, and there was a message in my DMs on Instagram from Blick letting me know that I was one of the people who were randomly chosen from the comment section in order to win 120 count of Rembrandt soft pastels. And I, of course, I'm up getting ready for work at 7 o'clock in the morning, screaming top of my lungs, with my neighbors wondering why am I going mad and whether they need to call the police, I'm sure. But with that said, suffice it to say, I was happy as all get out. Um, it was real cool, real cool. This will also be a really great way to do backgrounds for, like if you're just making, you want some watercolor backgrounds for greeting cards. This will be a really great way to get a watercolor master board started that you can then cut up for like journaling cards and tags and things like that. Um, so there's a lot of different directions you could take doing something like this in. Now, as you can see, there is a quite a shift from wet to dry, and it's not 100% dry yet. So it's going to be interesting to see just how light it gets. So there's something to take note of. And I do recall it being quite the same with the Hemi and the Vibranium. You can't, but the thing is that the paint doesn't bronze that I remember anyway. And when I say bronze, means like go shiny if you use them in a really heavy consistency. So if these are anything like the Hemi, then hopefully you could use them in a stronger pigment strength mixture, less water, more pigment, or even be able to layer up several layers of pigment that are not water heavy, and not have to worry about bronzing the paints drying and glossing over or anything like that. Oh, thank you, Marianne. It was so cool to win them. Okay, that should be dry enough for me to do what I want to do. I'll sit it to the side, let it air dry for just a second, and I'm gonna grab those pastels and show them to you guys because I meant to show them at the beginning of the live, but I didn't think about it until just then. Hopefully, everybody has already received their Palm Street shipments from our December live. I want to make sure that everybody got everything in time for Christmas, just in case you were buying it as a gift. So, hopefully, everyone has gotten everything. So, I'm not, it came. It's a huge, a huge. This is what showed up, and I was like, "Oh wow, look at that! What is this?" Because of course, I sent them the email. I sent them a reply to the DM and sent them the address to send it to, but I have, things coming in all the time, so I'm never really sure what the man is bringing in his hand or the lady is bringing in her hand. But here we go. We have the 120 count half length stick, extra soft pastels from Rembrandt, the professional choice. So I don't have to actually go out and purchase an artist grade of soft pastels to give a try. Now, I haven't watched any reviews on these, and I think I'm going to because I want to see how soft they are in comparison to like the regular artist ones that I have. Uh, and of course, I want to also go look and see if I can find pigment information because this is Royal Talents. This is their professional line. So I'm pretty sure there should be pigment information out there in the ethosphere somewhere for them, right? One would think. But yeah, I was really excited about that. All right. So now, what are we doing? We are going to grab some black pens here. Just say, what? Yeah, we're grabbing black pens. I told you we're just gonna have some fun. This is just a cute little project you can do to create a card or postcard or, just a little, hey, I'm thinking of you, a sweet something for the holidays. Now I have ironically enough, another house brand product from Jerry's. This is Creative Mark. You may recall some of their products I've reviewed over the channel several times. That little Risk palette, that little Risk uh that Globetrotter Risk palette watch. That's what I'm trying to say. This thing. Remember, we reviewed this. So this is by the same company that makes these fine liners. This is Creative Mark's Super Black line of fine liners. This is a 3 millimeter brush. So it has the plastic nib, so it's very flexible. It has a lot of spring, jumps back at you. I love this one. And then I also grabbed a Derwent line maker. This is a 0.8 millimeter black by Derwent. I'll be honest, I've not always had the best luck with their fine liners. Now, I love doing products, but I don't always have the best luck with their fine liners. So I'm going to use this Super Black, and we are going to start off targeting our red areas. What are we doing? We are going to be making circles on top of our red area. We're making berries, okay? You paint your berries in however you want to get them in. You're just making circles that touch, making clusters here. You make them in different sizes. You can make your clusters shape however you want to. Small berries, big berries. I'm just trying to kind of fill up a red area. And you don't have to be too careful. I mean, we're having fun here. You should be having fun. Try to keep my berries all the same size. I can't make promises. Make your clusters however you want to make them. Put as many berries on them as you want to. It's all yours from your It's just your imagination. Temptation says it's just your imagination, right? I'll make some tiny ones. And I'm not thinking about it. I'm just drawing circles. Now, why this one ended up way in the sky, I'm not sure, but we're gonna play with it. So basically, all you're gonna do is go around and draw berries on the red area that you created. Keep in mind, the more berries you draw, the more you have to paint. Aha. And I'm using this particular pen simply because, as I told you, it has a lot of flicks on the nib. I can move really quick. The ink doesn't skip. And of course, all of these are waterproof. It's going to be a big cluster of berries, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Um, okay. It's just a lot bigger than I was anticipating doing, my friend. But you know what? It's okay. It's all for the fun. So I want to put something there. I got that red patch there, so I really need to. I feel like I'm getting too many on here. Oh, whatever. This is not about perfection. This is about fun, loosening up, and not being too serious, right? Okay. We may end up putting some more in there sometimes, who knows, whatever. Now I'm going to draw holly leaves all around town. I'm gonna put them somewhere everywhere, and I switched over to the Derwent number 8 at this point. It's let's see. I have to think about holly leaves. I really do. It uh when I draw, see that one up there, and it's gonna come back. This they don't have to be perfect because that one definitely is not. But you get the point. So what you're gonna do is go around and figure out where you want to put your holly leaves that's coming out of your illustration. And I'm moving my paper all around because I'm turning it to make it comfortable for me to draw or attempt to draw. Because I'm not being too careful with anything. Just trying to make sure that all of these are going to be turned in a different way and nothing's going to look too samey. And my leaves are very stylized at this point. They almost look like arrows, but I don't really care. You understand that they're holly leaves. So I'm probably not going to draw all of these in. I'm just going to show you guys. Well, no, I really do need to. So let's just get it done. And since I was so stylized with the leaf on one, I have to keep it that way on all of them. I want to keep it kind of looking the same. And kind of want going out. Maybe this one. Let's see. We'll see in a second. Let's do one here. Let's see. Here. We can make them big. We can make them small. This one pretty big. The bigger they are, of course, the more they're going to cover the page. The smaller they are, the more room you have to work. It's just really whatever you want to do. This is really supposed to be you having fun. And that's why I said this is a great project to do with the kiddos because of how carefree it is. And you're getting some practice, wrist movement with drawing different things out, right? Hey, view. So, let's see. A lot of this, or should I say all of this, is about letting go, relaxing. Don't take this too seriously. Okay? That's the main thing, is to not take this too seriously. And I want to kind of go out like that. And then let's get one over here too. Yeah, it's gonna be coming straight out the side. That'd be kind of tacky. And we'll put it here. Small one. And then we'll put another one. Okay. Okay, yeah, that'll make sense. Alright. And I think that kind of proves the point. That's good enough. It proves the point. Don't have anything down here on this little guy. Get it alone. Sorry, friend. Alright. Now let's play around with some paint again. I would tell you to heat set that, but you know, if some of the ink runs, then oh well. I'm going into my vermilion here, and we're gonna go through and paint ourselves some berries. Okay, probably gonna be painted directly from the pan, so because they're not like chalky, so I feel like it can handle that. All right. I really do need a bit of a darker color though for some shadow. So let's see if we can mix up a bit of a darker color here. I'm gonna grab some of that vermilion, a touch of ultramarine. Maybe a touch of that burnt sienna too. And well, it definitely didn't stay wet enough for any blending. It might be too wet. Let's see. So the paint gets really kind of really soft, really soft. You can pick up a lot of it. This is a really soft brush. But this paint kind of holds the water and gets really soft, just so you'll know. I'm trying to mix it thick enough so that I can do it wet like this and it not be an issue. Maybe I should have switched. I'll switch over to a non-square brush on the next one for that. Let's go ahead and do another one. Yeah, that paint is going to wear down fast. No doubt about it. It kind of puts you, if you've ever used praying, how moist praying stays, that's what it feels like. I'm going to switch over to this is a nylon brush. So I should get a little bit more control. I'm not sure how much that's going to blend it to itself. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to grab a bigger nylon. for this part too. And I'm just swirling the color on. We're just making berry clusters. It's not a biggie. This will be real easy for you to crank out a bunch of these in card format or in postcard format if you needed to. Once you put the paint down, though, just kind of leave it alone because I noticed that they do kind of want to lift a little bit if you continue to go over an area. So once you put the paint down, just leave them alone. And they definitely flow really well because as you can see that my dark took over um, the lighter color up under it quickly. So they definitely flow into one another. So it may be more advantageous for me to just paint in all the berries and do the glazing layer for the shadow. So I'm going to paint in the berries and the leaves, and then I glaze on the shadows. Take just a tad bit longer than I originally planned, but not too much longer at all. Because now all I have to do is go through and blend out the lighter color on everything, and then let it dry, and come back and glaze on the darker color, which will be super easy. Hopefully, somebody out there is trying this along with me to see how fun it actually is, how quick you can move. And you wait till you see how quickly a frame is going to change the way something looks. I'm just swirling on the red. I'm not really kind of going outside the line on some of them. It's okay. This will make a. Ooh, this will be really pretty to do on like a craft paper with a gouache, and then let it dry. Spray it with a varnish and use that craft paper to wrap your Christmas gifts with, or use or even taking a really thin, um, really super thin watercolor paper, like a 90 pound, 60 pound, something like that. Doing this on it, you can use it to make little boxes. You can do this. You could use this little motif on a bunch of things. You can paint a Christmas ornament and use this motif on a Christmas ornament. I think that wrapping paper idea is cool though. I might do that. Grab me some craft paper. Go buy me a roll of craft paper. Sit down with a black pen and some gouache. Do the exact same techniques. Or maybe even a black pen and some acrylic. That would be cool too. Ooh, acrylic paint pens. Just do it in acrylic paint pens. So many different avenues you can take this. You do not have to be a watercolor quote unquote artist in order to do this. This is so simple, right? All right, let's go ahead and paint in the leaves. And I'm going to use this Terra color, this Terra Verde color, since it's the green that's straight from the tube, and we're not trying to do too much mixing, okay? Again, I want to keep this simple, so we're not going to go into color mixing. I'm just going to take the green that I have here, and we're going to use it. It's going to work just fine. Now, if you don't have like waterproof black pens, you could actually do the composition first and then, outline your thingy. That way you won't have to worry about it running. Again, I'm thinking about staying in the lines, but if I go outside it, I'm not, I don't feel like, oh my goodness, I went outside the line. As you can see, I'm using it more in a mass tone now, and it's staying pretty opaque. It's gonna definitely be a shift, and it does dull down just a little bit. But you also have to keep in mind that I'm also painting on cellulose paper. I'm going to pull the chat up on my phone so I can have it sitting in front of me. Because right now I have the chat box sitting off to the left side of me, and I can't really see what you guys are saying. So let me solve that issue. Cece says she uses Amazon packaging paper and make wrapping paper for presents every year. I mix up ink, wash, stamps, etc. Yeah, like yeah, absolutely. It's not always very pretty, but it's cost effective for family and presents. Hey, I know that's right. And I'm seriously thinking that's what I'm gonna do this year. Um, I like this little idea. I'm sitting here thinking that not only can I do this, I could do a snowflake motif. Oh, I could do the candy cane painting I did. I can do a bunch of candy cane and round peppermints in different Christmas and rainbow colors. That would work. Snowmen, do a landscape that's got a bunch of trees and snowfall. Well, yeah, that's how I'm gonna give presents this year. I think it just is gonna add so much more of a whimsical and personal touch and effect to everything. Absolutely. So we're just trucking along. Of course, if I was doing this pre-recorded, I would be like, "So paint all the leaves," and then we would cut to all the leaves being painted, or at least it would be sped up. But you know what? I actually like the live sessions. I like the live sessions because I get to kind of talk to you guys now. Of course, I'm not the most famous YouTube artist on the net, and that's okay because I love the community that I've built. I love the genuine people that come along with this community that I've built. The ones that show up all the time, every time, like you guys know, I love you to death. Thank you so much. And it could be like, oh, well, it's just because they're supporting you on YouTube. No, like I talk to some of the people, you know. We talk about things, all types of artsy things, and we're on all different types of platforms together. And I really feel like a lot of people are family, extended family. I want to put together, I'm going to eventually put together, try to put together, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Try to put together some type of art get together. I'm not going to call it a retreat because I mean, I'm not there. I'm not on that level. Let's be clear. I'm not on that level yet. That my business has progressed to the point where I would be hosting a retreat of any kind. But I'm thinking like a paint date. where it's set well enough in advance in like a central location where people can meet up with their products and just spend the day painting, talking, laughing. I even thought about an artist trading card exchange where people would prepare artist trading cards to bring to the event. And then, there would be a way to force like introduction between people, networking between people. You would spend the day kind of trading your artist trading cards for other people's. Um, yeah, I've even thought about like, I've thought about it to the point where even like the drink event, the bar itself, would have artistic tickets. Like in order to get something from the bar, you would have had to prepare an artistic ticket at home. It would be free as long as you have the artistic ticket to pay for it. I just think ideas like that would be so cool. Don't know about to go running off of my idea on that. No, I'm just joking. Just joking. Please feel free. Use it. Use it. Use it. But yeah, this is why I like the live sessions. I like to be able to talk and chit chat. Sometimes you guys talk back, sometimes you don't, but that's okay. I saw something about splatters. Oh, there it is. Splatters look good if I top it with gold and squares like linear swatches and rainbow looks the best. Yeah, splatters, let me tell you, splatters will change your painting. Splatters will take a dull painting and make it look so cute. Don't you worry, we're gonna be splattering on here. We're going to be splattering. We sure are. Gonna grab some metallic paint too. Absolutely. Getting silly now. Need to hurry up and finish these leaves. I mean, seriously, would this not be the cutest wrapping paper in creation? Be real. I'm gonna go back and base in those berries again really quick, friends. They just don't hold enough punch. Ooh, almost grabbed that red. That was gonna be an interesting green color. It was just gonna darken the green up. We both know that red and green are opposites on the color wheel, so they will neutralize each other. So everybody finish your Christmas shopping, those who celebrate Christmas, or even if you're not celebrating Christmas, if you're just giving a gift. I'll tell you guys a secret. Well, not really a secret. I didn't put a tree up this year. I didn't put a tree up this year because we are actually moving in January. It was just a year ago that we took possession of this place. And some of you know, some of you don't, but we've had nothing but one consistent issue after another since we took possession of this place. And unfortunately, I just refuse to continue to pay the type of money that we have to pay to have possession of this place and continue to deal with the issues that we're dealing with, which are absolutely ridiculous in my humble opinion. We should not be having to, but it is what it is. And I'm not going to continue to beg somebody for just the basics when I'm paying what I feel is way above market value for what I have. So I'm going to, yeah, it's time to, unfortunately, we're going to just have to let them have their space back. And hopefully they will have learned a couple of things um, about being good landlords, and the next set of tenants won't have as many issues. Hopefully they'll fix what needs to be fixed before they try to rent it out to somebody else. Ay, ay, ay. Listen, friends, you have to be so careful in the rental space. You have to be so careful. And it's not that I didn't know that, and I thought I did well more than my due diligence. But sometimes there are things you just can't see. You know, there are things you can't see, and you don't know until you get in that situation. So, as much as I love this studio, well, actually, what I love are the windows. As much as I love the windows, um, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, it's all right. The one thing I always try to do is keep great upbeat spirits about stuff. So I'm not gonna let it depress me. There are a million places out there. I'm hoping I can find another place that has a similar window setup because I love the natural light that comes into specifically the studio section of the apartment. And I know I'm being very honest with myself. I know I'm not ready to buy a house. I think I touched on this before when I was talking to you guys. I know I'm not ready to buy a house. One, the market is the pricing of houses right now is, and I definitely don't want to buy a house in this state that I'm currently in. So, but I have a short term and a long term plan. Unfortunately, moving this early wasn't a part of that plan, but sometimes we have to adjust because it's just life. It happens to all of us. So, you know, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, what's the saying? You have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Ain't that what they say? Hilarious. Okay, let's see here. I think that added just a little bit more punch because there was a bit of a shift, and I do want to make sure that the berries look red. I don't want them to look like drab. All right, I'm gonna grab. I'm really just kind of using this watery wash. I'm gonna try to add a little bit more color to these real quick. I'm gonna grab the hair dryer, dry this, and then we'll put on the finishing touches, which you're gonna be like, okay, Thrifty, I get it. Now I have the Want Monster eating me up for the Ohuhu, those new Ohuhu acrylic markers, the 48 count, the brush ones. Like the Want Monster is eating me up. So I decided, and I don't even use acrylic markers like that, I don't use acrylics like that. So I decided I'm gonna pull out all of my acrylic markers tonight and I'm gonna paint on little canvases some different illustrations because I have acrylic markers here. So let me play around with those and see how they work, right? That's what makes the most sense. And then, but those markers are so enticing. They look so nice every time I see someone else use them. And then, of course, there were the acrylic markers that I got inside the Meeting Advent calendar, and those markers are actually really nice. Actually, all of the Meeting branded products that came inside that Meeting calendar are pretty nice. Let's be clear. Um, Sorry, I was just taking a drink of my coffee. That I think, and don't get me wrong, I think that a lot of the days in that calendar was much better than other days. I do believe there were quite a few things in that calendar that weren't quite art related, so it may have felt a little stale to some people. But the truth of the matter is, the overall value of each individual item inside the advent calendar equaled out to be much more if you were to purchase them separately than actually buying the advent calendar. So in that aspect, or from that view, the calendar was definitely worth what you paid for it. And then for me, it gave me the chance to experience meeting products. Because here's the thing, I've seen the company advertisements around for a buku amount of time. I'd never tried the product, so this was a really great way for me to try a spectrum of their products. And for the most part, I would say those are some pretty decent quality products. I was really surprised at the meat and products. I really, really was. On the other side of that same token, I also recently dropped a video on the Paint Crush Advent Calendar by Christy Rice, which was, and it is so funny how different Advent calendars can be. I'm gonna turn on the dryer to dry this really quick. I'll elevate my voice so that you guys can hear of the dryer. Um, but if you are noise sensitive, just know that I'm about to turn on the dryer. Three, two, one. But yeah, I also found myself really liking the Advent calendar from Paint Crush for a lot of different reasons. One is not only were there artistic things in it, there was also it also had a really stationary side to it, which is somebody who crafts and makes journals and sketchbooks and different things of that nature. I really appreciated all the different papers and packaging that you got along with the advent calendar because they could be repurposed into the crafting side of things. So as a crafter or as someone who makes handmade products, I really did also appreciate the whole stationery side of things. And then I really did like the fact that the advent calendar was a combination of small businesses. It wasn't packed full of generic stuff. It wasn't packed full of just paint crush stuff. It wasn't packed full of really super expensive legacy name brand things from companies that probably have their own advent calendar already anyway. It really was a combination of small businesses that she pulled together in order to put together a 13-day calendar. Now, of those 13 days, about 5 or 6 days were actual paint first products. Now, the biggest thing inside that advent calendar, in my opinion, had to be day 12, which was the full size, newly released Art Bible journal that she just dropped. So, for me, that was probably the biggest thing in there, but there were some really other nice things in there. There were paints by handmade artists, several different of those. There were stickers by small businesses that produce and make stickers. And these are different people that you can find over on Etsy and verify that they actually had their own small company. So I was really impressed with just the overall effort that I would say it had to take to go into reaching out to each of those individual artists and working with them and getting them to be willing to collaborate and donate stuff that would be going to another company's advent calendar. I just feel like that was a really slick type move. Was really impressed with that. And as I said, the things that came in the advent calendar itself wasn't too bad at all. So those are two advent calendars that I've tried and tested recently that you can find reviews for up on the channel that I think in both in their own way is worth it. Now, Christy Rice's Paint Crush advent calendar is no longer available, but a lot of the different things that are inside that calendar you can find on the different sites like Etsy or paint ChristyRice.com or Blick because there were some legacy brand products in it as well. So I just think it was a real cool mix of stuff. And if she does one next year, I would be willing to support it in the hopes that it would be just as diverse as this one was, because you have to judge it year by year. All right. So now what I want to do Before I put on any shadows on anything, I'm gonna grab this pen and I am going to, let's see, put some branches in here. I just decided I wanted to do that as I was drying this. Hey, see, I don't want to like try to make everything look like it's connecting or anything, but I am gonna put some, draw some branches off like that, and maybe this one does connect going this way. And should it connect into this one? Well, it's going to now. Then we have some branches coming off. And maybe we'll put some pine needles on those or something. Who knows? And then maybe this one here can share a branch. Come down like so. And put some dewdots off of it too. And then we'll just leave that one up there. It doesn't have to connect to anything. I will grab what I'm assuming is burnt sienna. That's what I'm assuming it is. Let's go ahead and base this in real quick. I should have did this before we dried anything, but it's okay. Again, I'm not taking anything too serious with this painting. I'm really just playing with these paints. I am so, in not stress mode over art right now. I spend so much time putting together videos and being concerned with the way things turn out and whether or not it's going to be pretty, whether or not people are going to be ready or willing to hit the like button, whether because there's a content creators and there's people who rely on content publishing as livelihood in some shape, form, or fashion. Ultimately, those type of things do matter if you're monetized, regardless of what people say. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't really care," but if you're running a business off of it, you definitely do. So it is so fun to be able to have free paints like this where I didn't have a plan. I just kind of had an idea, and then we turn the background into a painting. Like that's where it is. Or we're turning the background into a painting, should I say. All right. And then I'll just put a little shadow on that once it dries. But I can go ahead and work on the berries some more. And the reason I'm not worried about going outside the black lines I drew is because we are going to be doing splatter. so it won't matter. None of it will matter, friends. All right, so I'm going to try to mix me a little bit darker of a color in order to shadow these berries with that won't have too much water in it this time. Going back into that vermilion, some of that ultramarine. That should do. And yeah, see, this is where the original dark color kind of spilled over and kind of took over the berries. Those are just going to be a little dark. I'm going to have to live with that. But what did I say? We're not really worried about that. We're just painting. And part of the whole appeal of this is that it's not perfect. Part of the whole appeal of this is that it is a kind of crude creation. Shadows are kind of harsh. Drawing is kind of harsh. Um, the highlights are going to be kind of harsh. It's all going to feel right in the frame, though. I'm not even trying to blend out the shadows. I'm just kind of putting them on. And again, I'm not really worried about going outside the lines either. We're going to grab our black pen in just a second, and we're going to go in and put some ends on some of those berries, which is just going to be basically a round little dot, which is going to help with the contrast when we get ready to go back and put on our highlights. It'll all play together before it's all said and done. And I'm trying to move quickly here so we can go ahead and get this kind of wrapped. I really do need to prepare for Patreon tonight because, like I said, I'm using acrylic. I think acrylic paint pens, and that's just not a medium I'm used to. So, yeah, tonight should be interesting. And I think I want to tackle trying to paint um, something still life-ish on small campuses. Maybe more than one, but definitely one. Okay. Um, Terra, Roberta, need a little bit, quite a bit of that. It's quite a few leaves here. And mix in some of that ultramarine. Actually, just mix it into the ultramarine. How about that? Ooh, that's a little blue. Okay. I mean, it's a little blue, but okay, whatever. Maybe I don't want to paint the vein in. I don't know yet. I did it on those two, but I think I might not do it on the rest of them. Put your own little artistic spin on this. Telling you, don't try to make it perfect. It's gonna lose the effect. As a matter of fact, if you can make it look different from one to the next, do it. Especially if you're gonna use this for the wrapping paper idea. The more ununiform things are, the better it's gonna be. Um, okay. What haven't I touched? Did I touch up there? It's shifting. And see, that's what I'm paying attention to. It's shifting quite a bit. So I'm really losing saturation. And that is a combination of both the paint and the paper. Maybe more so paint because this is Strathmore 400 series paper and it does have a shift to it, but it's not normally like this. This is quite a shift. Because see, that's dry. Look at the difference in wet and as it dries, it's definitely quite a shift to it. So I don't know. I mean, it really just depends. Those paints are. See, I was saying I was gonna need more time to do a review, but I really think these are the same paints. They even have the same shifting issue. But this was a really good exercise for me to really just test these paints out. I think, I will still do a more serious painting with them. I was saying this Wednesday coming up, we would look at those from Yuhi opaque paints, but maybe what I'll do instead is a final, serious sort of still life painting with these paints and I see even the color, even the darker color on my berry has shifted to the point where you really can't just tell that there's supposed to be a shadow color there. So, you know, I need to put a little shadow on. This is burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. You can definitely tell that you're working with a student artist grade paint. You can tell that they don't really, and although Vibranium say professional, I don't, those definitely aren't professional paints. They're definitely artist grade paints. But they're not terrible at all. I have definitely used worse paints. Actually, these aren't bad paints at all. They just have their drawbacks. I think before I do that, I want to add another element to this real quick. Let's grab that permanent yellow. I'm gonna mix it with some of this Terra Verde. I want to turn my paper towards me so I can pull my stroke towards me on each one of them. But let's take those little um, pieces of those branches we drew on. Let's turn them into some pine needle sprigs. Add just a little bit more something to the composition. Why don't we? Let's make it a little bit more oofy. Make it look a little bit more cutie. You a cutie. And I'm just using a synthetic brush and I'm literally just flicking needles on, making V's on each side of that little sprig. Paint over whatever's there. Don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. If it's there, paint over it. We're just putting in the first one. We're going to go back and put on a darker green in just a second. Um, See you, Marianne. Just got in the shovel snow. Goodness. Oh, my phone fell. And all right. Now let's add in a little darker green. So we'll mix that same Terra Verde with a little bit more ultramarine blue. And then let's go back and do the same thing again. Kind of layering it on top of that lighter color. Quick, short strokes. And when you lay it on top of the darker color, I mean a lighter color, it looks like a shadow. So cool. And so although we are just kind of playing, you are getting to see, you are probably learning tricks you already knew, but hey, you know, somebody might be new and not know some of these quick tricks. Of course, there's gonna be a shift. I really do probably need to put an even darker green in because of the shift that there's gonna be, but whatever. You see, this has more pigment strength is stronger. and go right over whatever you're painting over. So it'll look like, maybe that pine is on top of the berry. Don't worry about that. This is a great little way to just kind of get out your inexpensive supplies and come up with something to save some money for Christmas. Definitely turning this into a wrapping paper motif would be the way that I went. Definitely. All right. Now, I really feel like my berries need more definition to them for roundness. Just try. I can't seem to achieve what I want with that paint. It's shifting so much. So I'm gonna just real quick like grab. We're gonna go mix media real quick. You can grab wash if you want to. I'm gonna grab a Prismacolor pencil and go in and just feel like some of these berries need to be rounded off some. They seem so flat. And I mean, hey, why not? We're playing. Throw whatever you want to throw in. There's no rules. What I will tell you is that the tooth of this Strathmore paper will grab quite a bit of colored pencil. That would make this Strathmore paper really good for mixed media. Not too bad. Now, of course, I'm using a Prismacolor, and they are notorious for snapping, and I can feel this lead wanting to do that already. And notice I'm not trying to blend the pencil out. I'm not blending anything out really. Haven't done it this entire painting. I've done very little color mixing. This is kind of the philosophy behind Christie's Art Bible Journal. We're just kind of playing off of that philosophy on regular paper, or we're not really. We're creating for the sake of creating. We're not creating for the sake of trying to be pretty or cute. We're almost done though. You can stop at whatever point you want. I just want to add more saturation to the color on those in the dark areas of those berries. You have to go in here and find me something to eat for lunch. You can definitely take much more time on yours if you want. I mean, you can turn yours to a masterpiece if you want. Just know that that wasn't the point. You can like draw the most spectacular composition that you want. Just take this idea, do whatever you want with it. I don't care. Absolutely. Absolutely. If it's what suits your fancy. You can actually use the watercolors as a base layer and then go back and do the entire thing with color pencil layer and blend a light and a dark color pencil into each other and varnish it if you really wanted to have shine or something. So there's plenty of ways to go about just throwing media on paper and having fun with it. Wow, those. All right. Just a few of these. Color in here. And like I don't really have no rhyme or reason. I'm just doing one side of the beer. All right. Then a few of these up here, not everywhere. A few of these. Let's do all of those. All right. Now, actually, I think I want to go back and use my pen to emphasize those ways. Okay. And you can even put some more designs on like your tree branch. Want to just add a few marks on it here and there. And then we're gonna go in with our highlights. One thing is I need to make sure to go opposite the side that has this is a uniball signal. You can use whatever you want for your white. This one is okay. I will say that I have found some really good sort of generic white pens. That Gent pen that I was showing, been telling you guys about, like that is a really cool pen as far as being a budget, being a budget pen. It's really good, really consistent, no skipping, nice opaque white G pen. That's what it's called. I just happen to have this uniball sitting out, so that's what I'm using. And I'm not even really concerned as to whether or not my Highlights make sense. Don't care, friends. Don't care. I'm telling you, try it. Don't care about this. Just do it. Just do it. It'll be so cute on wrapping paper. All right. Um, Trying to see if I wanna. Think I am. Let's see there. You have to. The only thing about the uniball is you can't move too quick with it. You have to keep a steady pace. But the skippy lines are okay right now. Um, I wanna. Why not? Let me give it a little bit more pizzazz. Make it look like some of those are highlighted. Guys, you could have best stopped doing this. I am just having fun. I don't know if you noticed. Hope this hasn't been too boring for anyone. I guess if it has been, you clicked off by now anyway. So, all right, there. Now I'm going to really do some splattering now. Some red everywhere. I definitely want some of that green. Kind of help foliage up things. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to. Think it makes it festive. Then I'm also going to do some of that yellow I was using. May seem weird, but it's going to punch things up a little bit. And we did use it, so it's not going to seem out of place. And last but not least, I'm going to sprinkle a little white on it too. Why not? Oh, you know what? We should have did some shine. Maybe I should sprinkle some shine on it. That's what I'll do. Instead of white, I'll do gold for some shine, and then we're gonna cut it out and put it in the frame. I need to grab. I guess I'm gonna grab this Paul Rubens. I thought I had some other gold paint somewhere. I thought I did. What is this? These are. Have I used these? Oh, that seems iridescent. Oh, I might use that in another project. Do I have gold in this? Again, iridescent. Okay. I'll use the Paul Rubens opaque, or you can use you can use the Paul Rubens metallic or the Art Wheel glitter, or you can use pearlescent if that's what you have. Whatever you have that you have, that'll work. See, let's go with this one. This is actually more of a bronze. I'm gonna mix that. Kind of want this kind of yellow gold. Go with a more yellow undertone to it. Now these actually get pretty opaque when they dry. I love these. don't know. I hope I'm not getting paint on my other phone. Of course, knowing me, I probably am. Okay. Hopefully there'll be enough shine once it dries. But there's a quick little project. I'm gonna actually dry this real quick and cut it out and show you what my intentions was to show you with it. And then we are going to be done with this little creation for today. It was a cute little project to kind of try the paints out with. I'll be honest, I really feel like I really believe that these are the same paints as the Kimi and the Vibranium art paints. But just to say that it was a fair shot, I'm going to do a painting with them, a still life, a more serious painting before I actually do a review on them now. Oh yeah, I do have those Renaissance metallic paints. They are in that bag. I have to go. Um, but yeah, I think these are the same paints. Like, so if you, I don't know. I think that the Hemi rendition of them is cheaper because if I'm not mistaken, these were they're about the same. These are like 15, what, 17 bucks if I'm not mistaken. That's what I paid for these 15 half pants. And then you get the 24 half pants from Hemi for about 15. What's this? So actually the Hemi would be a better buy. Getting them in the vibranium art rendition would be like the worst way to buy them because you're paying $65. But of course, with the vibranium art, um, of course, with this rendition, you're basically paying for the palette, you're paying for the quill brush that comes in it. They try to be a little bit more premium with their branding. They're calling it a professional artist quality or something, but they're actually just artists. They're not a professional paint by any means. But this rendition is going to be the most economical because this is 24 half pans for about $15, $16. Again, 24 half pans for $65. And then 15 half pans in the SoHo rendition for uh, around 20 bucks, I believe. That's what I paid for them. That's the only reason I got them because they weren't expensive. Because had they been, it would have been a no go. So what I want to do is hit this with the heat real quick. You can add many more branches, and you can fill your whole page up, or you can make it as scarce as you want. You can space them out a lot more, especially if you're going to be doing it as like wrapping paper. And pull off the tape, and then put it off the block. But I did mine on a block. Okay. And then I'm going to trim it out to fit in a frame. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer, but I did block off an 8 by 10 size, so you could use like your scissors to cut it out, or you could have been painting on 8 by 10 paper, or you could have made it whatever size you wanted to. Did not have to be the size I was doing. You could leave about a quarter-inch border on this if you wanted to, so you have a little bit more room to position it inside a frame. depending on the type of frame you had, or whether or not it was a bigger frame with like an 8x10 mat or something like that. So many different ways you put it on it. This will also be really cute to wrap around a book board and use as the front of a journal cover if you want to do that, because you do it on watercolor paper. So that's going to be thick enough. Look at that. That would be really cute wrap around a book board used as like the cover of a Christmas journal. Absolutely. Just be sure that you varnish it first. Give it time to dry because you're going to be touching it over and over and over again. Yep, absolutely, friends. Let's see. I need to grab. Here's this one. So of course you sign it because you're going to give it to somebody. If it's wrapping paper, if you want to sign it, you can sign a wrapping paper too. That'll be cute. All right, so I'm just gonna grab this frame. I'm gonna do this over my chair. Now what I would do is make sure it's gonna fit. It looks like it's gonna fit. It looks like it's gonna fit. Okay. I would just kind of take something like maybe a piece of painter's tape, just a small piece, and just make sure it's not gonna move around. Now, the best way to frame watercolor, friends, is in a mat, with a mat. In a frame, preferably UV frame, but not necessarily UV frame, but definitely with a mat so that it's something protecting the illustration from the glass. But this is not like something I'm hanging in a museum or that I plan on hanging on a wall. This would be something that you gave to as a gift to someone, and they would simply put it on their mount there, just like that. See how easy that is? You can pick you up a frame from like the Dollar Tree. You can pick you up a frame from whatever. But here's a wonderful little way to give somebody something really cute to throw on their mantle, take out for Christmas decoration, or you can paint whatever you want. But the whole idea is to just kind of have fun, let loose, not take your life too seriously. Paint something really whimsical in front, throw it in a frame, and it'll make a really nice Christmas gift. As I said, it could also be really cute for um, it could be really cute to be used on a card front. It could be really cute to be used on postcard fronts, or you could use it as journal front, ephemera. Take it over into your crafting world as well. But just play, and don't take it too seriously. So there you have that. I'll let you see um, just one more time the swatches for it. I don't think I'm gonna get it all on screen like that. And here are the paints. Both of those are just way too big to get on screen almost at the same time. I'm gonna try here though, without getting a bunch of lights reflecting in the glass. There, that'll work. So there you have it, friends. There are the swatches. There's a little illustration that we did, mainly just to show you how it will look inside a frame. Definitely give this type of idea a try. Christmas is one of the, or this time of the year, the holiday season, let me say it like that, is one of the better times of the year to kind of play and explore and have fun with your art. So I definitely encourage you to do that. I'll repeat one more time. Don't take yourself too seriously, but most importantly, don't be hard on yourself at all. You have to keep in mind that whatever you may be aiming to do is going to be a gift for someone. And they're just going to appreciate the fact that you took time out of your life to hand paint them something and to give it to them. I can guarantee you that. So I'll check the comment section one last time before I jump out, and then I'm going to be let you guys go. Yeah, it is a cute plate. Living room key holder or electronic counter. It actually could be turned into that. I could see it being something that has hooks on the bottom of it to hang your keys onto. That would be cute. But hopefully you enjoyed this. If you've been here and you picked up on anything that you like, or if you're watching in syndication and you picked up on anything that you like, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up by sprinkling a little love. Feel free to share the video because sharing is caring, and maybe somebody else would like to see the unboxing and sort of the first play around use of the Soho Urban Artist watercolors. As I said, you can get them from Jerry's Autorama if you're curious in them, curious about them. I really think that they are pretty much the Hemi paint. So I'll go ahead and say that they're a pretty decent starter set for the price, but you can also get the Hemi rendition at a much more economical price. All right. Creation session. I'll see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. Like I said, we're going to be playing with acrylic markers, which means I need to get off of here and practice playing around with acrylic markers because, as you know, that is not something I use on a regular basis. But December has been all about exploration for me, and I've been having a lot of fun doing it. And I am continuing to invite you guys along on the journey with me. If you're new, are returning and you haven't subscribed, go ahead. Please consider hitting that subscription button and that notification bell so you'll know when we go live and when we upload. Lives are every Monday at 11 a.m. as long as everything stays the same. And pre recorded videos drop every Wednesday at 10 a.m. as long as everything stays the same. However, during the month of December, we have been having a lot of releases and we will continue to have a lot of releases throughout this month, going back to our regular schedule in January. Check the video description for all of the relevant links. Don't forget to check out the most recommended product list. And if you have not checked out this year's holiday 2025 gift guide, there is still time to go check that gift guide out and pick up something for yourself or a loved one if you would like to. And I'll also flip that coin over and say check the Defiant Art website because there are still plenty of bamboo gorget palettes left, which would be a wonderful gift to give an artist friend in your life. Outside of that, friends, go out and enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week. Happy painting. And remember, as I tell you at the end of every single live and every single video, just keep creating, friends.